It was supposed to be a simple company dinner, until my boss raised his glass and said, "To my favorite woman in the room, my future Mrs. Carter." Everyone laughed, except her, because her smile told me it wasn't a joke. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where you're watching from around the world. Act 1. The dinner that changed everything. My name is Ethan. I'm 34 years old, married for 7 years, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. A stable career, a beautiful wife, a nice house in the suburbs. The American dream, right? I'd been working at Carter Industries for 6 years. Started as a junior analyst, worked my way up to senior project manager. Long hours, sure. Stressful, absolutely. But I was building something, providing for my family, also for Natalie. Natalie, my wife, 32, worked part-time as a marketing consultant, mostly from home. Smart, beautiful, the kind of woman who could light up a room just by walking into it. Everyone told me how lucky I was, and I believed them. Mr. Richard Carter, my boss, the CEO, was everything I wasn't. Old money, Ivy League education, a mansion in the hills, divorced twice, no kids, and at 58 still lived like he was in his 30s, expensive suits, private jets, the kind of man who thought the world existed for his entertainment. But he was fair to me, or so I thought, gave me opportunities, praised my work in meetings, so when the annual executive dinner came around, this luxury event at the Grandview Hotel, black tie, the whole 9 yards, and spouses were invited, I actually felt proud to bring Natalie. I wanted her to see what I'd built, to meet the people I worked with, to feel like she was part of my success. I should have known better. The dinner was elegant. Crystal chandeliers, string quartet playing in the corner, waiters in white gloves serving courses I couldn't pronounce. Natalie wore this emerald green dress. Stunning, elegant, but not over the top. She looked perfect. Carter spotted us immediately. Came over with that confident stride, martini in hand, smile wide. "Ethan, there's my star player." He clapped me on the shoulder, then his eyes shifted to Natalie. "And this must be the famous Mrs. Reynolds. I've heard so much about you." "All good things, I hope," Natalie said with a laugh, extending her hand. He took it, but instead of shaking it, he raised it to his lips. Kissed her knuckles, like we were in some 19th century romance novel. "Better than good," he said, holding her gaze just a second too long. "Ethan's been hiding you. That's a crime in my book." I laughed it off. It was Carter being Carter. Charming, charismatic. That's how he closed deals, right? That's how he built an empire. Throughout dinner, he kept circling back to our table, asking Natalie about her work, her hobbies, her opinions on wine. He barely acknowledged anyone else. My colleagues noticed. I saw the glances, the raised eyebrows, but I told myself it was nothing. He was just being a good host. Then came dessert. Chocolate soufflé, delicate and rich. The lights dimmed slightly, and Carter stood at the head of the room, champagne glass raised. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a toast," he announced. The room quieted. "To another record-breaking year, to this incredible team, and to the beautiful people who stand beside us through the long nights and stressful quarters." Polite applause. Smiles all around. Then his eyes found Natalie. "Especially to Mrs. Reynolds, who graces us with her presence tonight." He raised his glass higher. "Ethan, you're a lucky man. Very lucky. If she ever gets tired of you, she knows I've got room for her at the head table." Laughter erupted throughout the room. Loud, boisterous, the kind that comes after too much wine. Colleagues elbowed each other. Someone whistled. But I wasn't laughing. I was watching Natalie. And she was smiling. Not the polite, uncomfortable smile you give when someone makes an awkward joke. Not the tight-lipped smile that says, "Please stop talking." No. This was different. Soft. Almost pleased. Her cheeks flushed pink. Her eyes sparkled. She looked flattered. That's when I realized my boss wasn't the only one crossing lines. Act 2. The uneasy silence. The drive home was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that feels heavy, suffocating. Natalie scrolled through her phone, occasionally laughing at something on social media. I gripped the steering wheel, replaying that moment over and over. "That was nice," she finally said. "The dinner? Very elegant." "Yeah. Your boss seems interesting. That's one word for it." She glanced at me. "What's that supposed to mean?" I kept my eyes on the road. "That toast. The thing he said about you. What about it?" "You didn't seem bothered." She laughed. Light, dismissive. Ethan, come on. It was a joke. Everyone was laughing. You weren't just laughing, Natalie. You were blushing. Oh my God. She turned to face the window. Are you seriously doing this right now? You're going to ruin a perfectly nice evening because of a harmless joke? It didn't feel harmless. That's because you're being paranoid. Her voice had an edge now. He was being charming. That's literally his job. He schmoozes clients, investors, employees. It's what makes him successful. Don't read into it. I'm not reading into anything. I'm just saying, you're being insecure, she cut me off. And honestly, it's not a good look. I didn't respond. What could I say? That my gut was screaming at me? That something felt wrong? She just accused me of being jealous, controlling, paranoid. So I stayed silent, and that silence became a pattern. The next day, I got to work early, tried to focus on quarterly reports, budget projections, the mountain of emails in my inbox, but I couldn't concentrate. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that smile. Around 10 in the morning, my phone buzzed. A text from Natalie. Mr. Carter just called me, said he wanted to apologize if his joke made things awkward. Isn't that sweet? My stomach dropped. He had her number. When did that happen? How did that happen? I typed back, how did he get your number? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. I gave it to him last night. He asked if he could contact me about some charity gala thing. Some spouses are helping organize it. Relax. Relax. That word again. Over the next 2 weeks, Carter called her 3 more times. Each time she talked to him on speakerphone while making dinner or folding laundry, laughing at his jokes, her voice taking on this soft, careful tone I hadn't heard in years, the tone she used to use with me when we first started dating. Mr. Carter thinks I should consider going back to full-time marketing, she mentioned one evening. He knows some people, said he could make introductions. That's nice of him, I said flatly. You don't sound like you think it's nice. I think it's convenient. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Forget it. But I wasn't forgetting anything. I was watching, noticing, cataloging every detail. She started dressing differently for company events. More makeup, tighter dresses, expensive perfume I didn't remember buying. She'd spend an extra hour getting ready, checking her reflection multiple times, adjusting her hair until it fell just right. You look nice, I'd say. Thanks, she'd reply, barely looking at me. But when Carter complimented her, which he did every single time, she'd light up like a Christmas tree. ACT3. The shift at work. Things changed at the office, too. Subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. Carter started inviting me to more meetings, more lunches, more strategy sessions that always seemed to happen right after Natalie mentioned she'd talk to him. Great work on the Henderson account, Ethan, he'd say in front of the team. Keep this up and we'll be talking about a serious promotion. My colleagues congratulated me, told me I was on fire, asked what my secret was. I knew. It wasn't my work. It was my wife. The quarterly gala arrived. Another black tie affair, this one at an art gallery downtown, modern sculptures, abstract paintings, champagne fountains. The company spared no expense. Natalie wore red, blood red, a dress that hugged every curve, a slit up the thigh, heels that made her legs look endless. She looked like she belonged on a runway, not on my arm. Wow, I said when she emerged from the bedroom. She smiled at her reflection, not at me. Think it's too much? No, you look incredible. Good. She grabbed her clutch. Let's go. At the gala, Carter found us within minutes, like he'd been waiting by the door. Natalie, he said, his eyes traveling down her dress and back up, slowly, deliberately. You're going to give every man here a heart attack. She laughed, that soft laugh again. You're terrible. I'm honest. He turned to me. Ethan, you don't mind if I steal your wife for a dance, do you? Show her off a little? Every part of me wanted to say no, to tell him to back off, to grab Natalie's hand and walk out. But I was surrounded by coworkers, executives, board members. What was I supposed to do? Make a scene? Of course not, I heard myself say. I watched them move to the dance floor, watched his hand settle on the small of her back, just above where the dress dipped low, watched her lean into him as they swayed, watched other people watch them. My assistant, Jennifer, appeared beside me with a glass of whiskey. You okay? She asked quietly. Fine. He's bold tonight. That's one word for it. She hesitated. Ethan, I don't want to overstep, but then don't. She nodded and walked away. But I saw it in her eyes. Pity. The song ended. Another began. They kept dancing. By the third song, I stopped watching. Grabbed another drink, found a corner, counted down the minutes until I could leave with whatever dignity I had left. When we finally got home, Natalie was glowing. That was incredible, she said, kicking off her heels. Did you see the Rothko exhibit and that sculpture garden? Mr. Carter has such good taste. Yeah, he's got great taste. She caught my tone. What's your problem? You danced with him for 3 songs, Natalie. 3. So? So everyone noticed. Everyone was watching. Let them watch. I was having fun. You remember fun, right? Or is that another thing you're too paranoid to allow? This isn't about fun. This is about respect. Oh, here we go. She rolled her eyes. The respect speech. Ethan, you're my husband, not my keeper. If I want to dance with someone, I'll dance with someone. Even if it's my boss? Even if it humiliates me in front of my entire company? The only person humiliating you is you. She grabbed her phone and headed for the bedroom. With your insecurity, your jealousy, your constant suspicion, I'm going to bed. The door slammed. I stood in the dark living room, still wearing my tuxedo, and realized something. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't insecure. I was right. Ace T4. The discovery. The next evening, Carter's car was parked 2 houses down from ours. A black Mercedes S-Class. Impossible to miss. I'd seen it in the company parking garage 100 times. It was 7:30. I'd told Natalie I was working late but finished early. Wanted to surprise her. Maybe pick up Thai food, her favorite. Try to smooth things over. Instead, I sat in my car at the end of our street, staring at that Mercedes. He was in my neighborhood, near my house. I waited. 20 minutes. 30. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Finally, he emerged from the direction of our house. Casual stroll, hands in his pockets. Checked his watch, smiled to himself, got in his car, and drove away. I waited 5 more minutes before pulling into our driveway. Natalie was in the kitchen when I walked in, stirring something on the stove. She startled when she saw me. You're home early. Meeting got canceled. I set my briefcase down. What are you making? Just pasta. Nothing special. Her hair was slightly messed. Her lipstick refreshed, but not quite perfect. The living room had 2 wine glasses on the coffee table. 2. Expecting company? I asked, nodding toward the glasses. What? Oh, no, I was just watching a movie. You know how I like to pretend I'm fancy sometimes. She was lying. I could see it in her eyes. The way she wouldn't quite meet my gaze. The way her hand trembled slightly as she stirred. Carter's car was on our street. She froze, just for a second, then recovered. What? I saw his Mercedes, 2 houses down. Okay, so? Maybe he was visiting someone. It's a nice neighborhood, Ethan. Other people live here. Who would he visit here? I don't know. Why are you interrogating me? I'm not interrogating you. I'm asking you a simple question. Well, I don't have an answer. She slammed the spoon down. Jesus Christ, do you hear yourself? Now you're tracking cars, following him around. This is insane. You're right, I said calmly. It is insane. All of it. I walked upstairs, went to our bedroom, and did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone. She'd left it charging on the nightstand. Used the same passcode for years. Our anniversary. I picked it up, hands shaking, and opened her messages. There were dozens of texts with Carter, going back weeks. Most of them were innocent enough on the surface, casual, friendly. But the tone, the subtext... Carter. Lunch was lovely today. You're remarkably easy to talk to. Natalie. You're not so bad yourself. For a CEU. Carter. That red dress last night ruined my focus. I couldn't concentrate on a single word anyone said. Natalie. Good. That was the point. Carter. Dangerous game, Mrs. Reynolds. Natalie. Maybe I like danger. I scrolled further. My heart pounded in my ears. Carter. Ethan's lucky to have you, though I'm not sure he appreciates what he has. Natalie. You always know what to say. Carter. I mean it. You deserve someone who sees you, really sees you. Natalie. And I suppose you're that someone? Carter. I could be. I sat down on the edge of the bed, phone clutched in my hand, struggling to breathe. There was more. Much more. Photos she'd sent him. Not explicit, but intimate. Her in workout clothes. A selfie in our bathroom mirror. Caption, new perfume? Think he'll notice? Carter's response, He's a fool if he doesn't. I took screenshots. Every message, every photo, every flirty exchange that made my stomach turn. Then I checked our bank statements, joint account. I'd always handled the finances, but Natalie had access to everything. There, spa days, expensive ones. 3 times in the past month. Charged to a corporate card, Carter's name on the receipt, dinner reservations, hotels. Not our city, nearby ones. Day trips, maybe. Just a few hours. I opened her calendar app. Appointments marked as marketing meeting or networking lunch that coincided perfectly with Carter's schedule. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't insecure. I was married to a woman who was building a life with my boss. ACT 5. The setup. I didn't confront her that night, or the next day, or the day after that. I stayed calm, methodical, patient, because anger makes you sloppy, and I needed to be smart. I created a folder on a secure cloud drive, backed up every screenshot, every receipt, every piece of evidence, organized it chronologically, made notes, built a timeline. At work, I acted normal, friendly even. Thanked Carter for his mentorship, told him how much I appreciated his guidance. He ate it up. "You're really coming into your own, Ethan," he said, clapping me on the shoulder. "I see big things for you here." "I appreciate that, sir." At home, I was cordial with Natalie, asked about her day, kissed her goodnight. She seemed relieved, thought the storm had passed, that I'd gotten over my paranoia. Meanwhile, I was planning. 2 weeks later, I scheduled a team dinner at Giovanni's, an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. Told everyone it was to celebrate closing the Mercer deal, a huge account I'd actually landed on my own merit. I invited the entire senior management team, 15 people, including Carter. He accepted immediately. "Wouldn't miss it, Ethan. This is your night." I also invited Jennifer, my assistant, and Mark from accounting, 2 people I knew I could trust. 2 people who'd seen Carter's behavior and found it inappropriate. The night before the dinner, I did something risky. I forwarded the most damning messages from Natalie's phone to my personal email, then to a new corporate email I'd created, time-stamped with Carter's company credentials. The messages showed clearly misuse of company resources, inappropriate workplace conduct, and a pattern of favoritism that violated about 15 company policies. Then I contacted Janet Reynolds, the head of HR. Anonymously, used a burner email. You might want to look into Richard Carter's recent expense reports and text communications. Attached is documentation of company resource misuse and inappropriate conduct with an employee's spouse. This creates liability for the company. I didn't tell her about the dinner. I just planted the seed. The night of the celebration arrived. Everyone showed up in high spirits. Wine flowed. Appetizers circulated. Carter held court at the head of the table, telling stories, making everyone laugh. "To Ethan," he declared, raising his glass, "for reminding us all why we do what we do, because of people like him. Dedicated, hardworking, loyal." The word loyal hit different knowing what I knew. Around 8 o'clock, as they brought out the main courses, Carter was 3 drinks in and feeling expansive. "You know, Ethan," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I've been thinking. You've got everything a man could want. Great career, bright future, and of course..." He smiled. "That stunning wife of yours. Where is Natalie tonight, anyway?" "Home," I said calmly. "She wasn't feeling well." "Shame. She really does light up a room." He leaned back in his chair. "You're a lucky man. Very lucky. In fact, if you ever lose her, you let me know. I'll take excellent care of her." A few nervous laughs around the table. People shifted in their seats. Jennifer shot me a look. "Are you okay?" I smiled, set down my fork, pulled out my phone. "Funny you should mention that, Mr. Carter." "Mention what?" "Taking care of my wife." I connected my phone to the restaurant's presentation screen. I'd arranged with the manager beforehand, told him we'd be doing a work presentation. "Because based on your text messages, you already have been." His face changed. The smile vanished. "Ethan, what are you—" The screen lit up. Text messages, screenshots, timestamps, all projected in high definition for everyone to see. "Carter, you looked stunning at dinner. That red dress ruined my focus. Natalie, good, that was the point. Carter, you deserve someone who sees you, really sees you, Natalie. And I suppose you're that someone? Carter, I could be." Silence crashed over the table like a wave. Someone gasped. Jennifer put her hand over her mouth. Mark stared at the screen, then at Carter, then at me. I advanced to the next slide. Expense reports, company credit card charges, spa appointments, luxury hotels, 5-star restaurants, all charged to company accounts, all for my wife. Your company's money, Mr. Carter. Used to wine and dine an employee's spouse. Carter stood up, his face red. This is a setup. This is documentation, I said evenly, which has also been forwarded to HR, along with a detailed report of workplace misconduct, misuse of corporate resources, and the creation of a hostile work environment through favoritism based on personal relationships. He looked around the table. Everyone was staring at him. No one spoke. Ethan, he said, his voice tight. Let's be reasonable. We can discuss this privately, man to man. Like you discussed my wife with me? I stood up, collected my phone. No, I don't think so. I think we're done here. I turned to the table. Enjoy your dinners, everyone. It's on the company card. I'm sure Mr. Carter won't mind. I walked out. Behind me, chaos erupted, voices overlapping, someone calling my name, but I didn't look back. For once, I was the one in control. HT6. The Aftermath HR launched an investigation the next day. Carter was placed on immediate administrative leave, his access to company systems revoked, his company cards frozen. The evidence was overwhelming, expense reports didn't lie, text messages didn't lie, and once Janet started digging, she found more. Other instances, other favorites over the years, other employees whose spouses or partners had caught Carter's attention and whose careers mysteriously skyrocketed afterward. It was a pattern. I was just the first one to document it properly. The board met for an emergency session. 3 days later, Carter was asked to resign. Given the choice between a quiet exit or a very public scandal, he chose the former. His statement was brief. After much consideration, I've decided to pursue other opportunities. I'm grateful for my time at Carter Industries and wish the company continued success. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just the corporate equivalent of running away. My phone exploded with messages from colleagues. Some supportive, some shocked, some asking if I was okay. But the message I was waiting for came from Natalie. She called 17 times before I finally answered. Ethan, what the hell did you do? I documented the truth. You humiliated me. Everyone knows. Everyone is talking about. About what, Natalie? About how you were having an emotional affair with my boss. About how you enjoyed the attention so much you didn't care who saw it. It wasn't an affair. We never slept together. Oh, well, then I guess everything's fine. Don't do that. Don't act like I'm the villain here. Then what are you? Silence. I didn't cheat on you, she finally said, her voice small. I didn't do anything wrong. You're right. You didn't cheat. You just let another man court you, flirt with you, pay for your spa days and your lunches. You let him humiliate me in front of my entire company while you smiled like it was all a game. You didn't cheat. You just checked out of our marriage and didn't have the courage to tell me. I just liked the attention, that's all. You were always working, always stressed, always providing for us? I cut her off. Yeah, I was. While you were texting another man about how he really sees you. Ethan, I'm filing for divorce. Her breath caught. What? You heard me. Because of this? Because I made a mistake? Because when your husband's boss disrespected him publicly, you smiled. Because when I told you I was uncomfortable, you called me paranoid. Because you chose the attention of a wealthy, powerful man over the dignity of the person you promised to love. That's why. You're overreacting. No, Natalie. For the first time in months, I'm reacting appropriately. I hung up. She tried calling back, sent texts, long paragraphs about how sorry she was, how it wasn't what I thought, how we could fix this. But some things can't be fixed, some betrayals don't heal. She didn't understand that she didn't have to sleep with Carter for it to be a betrayal. She didn't understand that every laugh, every blush, every moment she chose his attention over my feelings was a crack in our foundation. And foundations don't collapse all at once. They crumble slowly, one crack at a time, until one day you look down and realize there's nothing left to stand on. Act 7. The Resolution. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my new office. After Carter's resignation, the board appointed an interim CEO while they searched for a permanent replacement, and in that transition, something unexpected happened. I got promoted. Senior Vice President of Operations, corner office, substantial raise. Not because of my wife, not because of favoritism, because I'd proven I could handle pressure, document problems, and make hard decisions. Turns out exposing corruption is good for your career. Natalie moved out. Went to stay with her sister across town. The divorce was civil, all things considered. She wanted to fight it at first, claimed she deserved half of everything. But then I reminded her about the text messages, about the spa days charged to company cards, about how quickly those could become public if she wanted to make things difficult. She took the settlement I offered. Our house sold quickly. Too many bad memories for either of us to stay. I bought a condo downtown. Smaller, simpler, mine. Jennifer from work asked me out to coffee a few weeks ago. Just coffee. Just two colleagues who'd been through something surreal together. We talked for 3 hours. Laughed. It felt normal. Easy. I'm not ready for anything yet. Maybe I won't bathe for a while. But it was nice to remember what it felt like to talk to someone who respected me, who saw me as a person, not a stepping stone. Carter disappeared from public view. Rumors say he moved to his house in the Hamptons, started some consulting firm. I don't keep tabs on him. He's irrelevant to my life now. Natalie tried reaching out last week, said she missed me, said she'd made a terrible mistake, said we should talk. I didn't respond. There's nothing left to say. The truth is, she didn't ruin my life. She revealed who she always was. And Carter didn't destroy me. He destroyed himself. People think betrayal is a single moment. The affair, the lie, the revelation. But it's not. Betrayal is 1,000 small moments. The smile that lingers too long, the laugh that sounds different, the way someone looks at another person and forgets you're standing right there. When someone laughs at your humiliation, when they enjoy the attention of someone disrespecting you, they've already left the marriage. You're just the last one to notice. I noticed. Finally. And once I did, once I saw it clearly, I knew exactly what to do. I didn't yell, didn't beg, didn't try to compete with a man who had more money, more power, more charm. I just documented, waited, and let the truth do what truth always does. It exposed everything. Now, when people say Carter, I don't think of my boss. I don't think of his arrogance or his wealth or the way he looked at my wife. I think of the lesson that cost me a marriage but gave me back something more valuable. My dignity, my self-respect, and the knowledge that I'll never again ignore my instincts when they're screaming that something's wrong. Some people say I should have fought for my marriage, tried harder, given her another chance, but I did fight. I fought for the truth, for accountability, for the idea that you don't get to disrespect someone and then act surprised when they walk away. Natalie wanted excitement, wanted to feel special, wanted a powerful man to make her feel desired. She got it. For a few months, she was the woman on the arm of Richard Carter, the CEO, the one who turned heads at galas, the one he complimented and pursued, and then she was the woman who helped destroy his career, the woman in the text messages, the scandal, the cautionary tale whispered about in break rooms and at company parties. She wanted to be seen. She got her wish, just not the way she imagined. As for me, I'm rebuilding, one day at a time, learning to trust again, learning to recognize red flags before they turn into wildfires. And I'm okay, actually okay. Not the fake okay you tell people when they ask, the real kind, the kind that comes from knowing you did the right thing, even when it was the hardest thing. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but this wasn't revenge, it was justice. There's a difference. Revenge is emotional, messy, destructive. Justice is calm, calculated, deserved. I didn't destroy Richard Carter's career out of anger. I documented his misconduct because it was wrong, because he abused his power, because he thought he was untouchable. And I didn't divorce Natalie out of spite. I divorced her because she showed me exactly who she was, and I believed her. Now, I live in a world where I don't have to wonder, don't have to check phones or question every smile or feel sick to my stomach when my partner talks to someone else. I live in a world where I know my worth, where I understand that loyalty isn't just about who you sleep with, it's about who you protect, who you defend, who you choose when the easy thing is to let them be disrespected. Natalie didn't choose me. She chose the attention, the excitement, the thrill of being wanted by someone powerful. And Carter didn't see her as a person. He saw her as a prize, another pretty thing to collect, a way to assert dominance over an employee he saw as beneath him. They deserved each other, and they both got exactly what they earned. Nothing. So here's what I learned. If you're out there going through something similar, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't let anyone convince you that your feelings aren't valid. Document everything. In the age of smartphones and screenshots, the truth is easier to prove than ever. Use that. Stay calm. Anger gives your power away. Patience keeps it. Know your worth. A relationship where you're humiliated, dismissed, or made to feel crazy isn't a relationship worth saving. And finally, When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for the 10th red flag. Don't make excuses. Don't hope they'll change. They won't. At least, not for you. Natalie showed me who she was that night at the company dinner. When she smiled at Carter's toast, when she blushed at his attention, when she chose his validation over my dignity, I just didn't want to see it yet. But I see it now. Clearly. And I'll never unsee it. That's the thing about betrayal. Once the veil is lifted, you can't put it back. You can't unknow what you know. You can't unfeel what you felt. You can only decide what to do with that knowledge. I chose to walk away. Best decision I ever made. The company's thriving, my career's flourishing, and I'm free from a relationship that was slowly destroying me from the inside out. Some people lose everything in situations like this. Their job, their home, their self-respect. I lost a wife who didn't respect me and a boss who was corrupt. Turns out those weren't losses at all. They were upgrades. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who's going through something similar, who's questioning their sanity, who's being told they're paranoid or jealous or overreacting. You're not. Trust yourself, document the truth, and never settle for someone who makes you feel small. You deserve better. We all do. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life stories, and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. Until next time, take care of yourselves. And remember, when someone shows you who they are, believe them, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Because the truth will always set you free, even when it breaks your heart first.